Just getting set up, guys. I lost my timer. So, I think we're all set on TikTok, and we are a go on Substack. So, without further ado, it is 7:01 after all. Let's get this show underway. Hey everyone, welcome to The Dream is True. This is episode 35. I can't believe we've made it this far in the journey of doing this. We are on the second last chapter tonight of Cassius Canics. Next week is the season finale of The Dream is True. We will be reading the final chapter of Cassius Canics. And I have a very special guest next week. I have a very special guest this week too on the Bookish Spotlight. But more on that later. But yeah, it's been quite a journey. I am MK Schultz, horror, sci-fi author. And each week I do this show called The Dream is True on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And I just thank you for all who have been along on this journey with me so far. There's a lot more to come, but thank you to all who have taken a part of this amazing ride. And yeah, it's going to be so much fun today again to go through this with you guys and get the show on the road. So let's see. We begin every episode with the dream's first breath. The image on your screen is called the fruit pyramid. This is how I summoned the universe to guide me to my destiny of becoming an author. Wielding the fruit pyramid is a call for help when you are unaware of what kind of help it is that you need. For me, the call was answered by the powerful realization that suddenly manifested into reality when I finally found the mysterious dream that had been hidden from my true self for my whole life. I found my purpose, to be a writer. Join me for more about the fruit pyramid and other behind-the-scenes bits from my writing journey each week here on The Dream is True. And The Dream is True starts as a newsletter, which is published on Substack every Wednesday. And then it forms a sort of basis script for the show on Thursday night, which is what you're currently watching, which is also called The Dream is True. This is the second last episode of Season 1. In Season 2, I'm looking forward to bringing a whole bunch of new and exciting features to the show. And that is all still in the works. So I am not sure yet what exactly is happening, but I have some ideas, and I'm really excited to work on them. I am MK Schultz, horror sci-fi author. And this is The Dream is True, episode 35. Thank you to everyone on TikTok. All of the gifts have been just amazing and have been keeping me going on that platform. So I really appreciate that. And over on Substack, I thank you for all of the subscribers. Totally amazing to have you all watching the show. So just a little bit about the show then. So on your Substack, if you're watching me from there, you'll see the two images on your screen are coming up. And what they are is, so the one image is for the newsletter and for this live show, and it's called The Dream is True. And that's the graphic for that. And then the other graphic is for the podcast. So the exciting thing that happens is, okay, so the show is live and on here and on TikTok. And then basically what happens is later the whole video is then posted on my YouTube channel and on Substack, so you can always watch it again. And then the other exciting thing that happens is it is blasted out as a podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, YouTube Podcasts, and Pocket Casts. So that is super fun. So that is my structure of my show so far. Next up, we are going to do, in preparation for the live reading later on in the show at about 8 o'clock, we are going to do a recap of last week's live reading, which was chapter 34, Explosion. And here's a little recap to fill you in on what happened last week, and then you can continue the ride this week when the chapter reading starts later on at about 8 o'clock tonight. So in last week's chapter reading, Rock and Cass are left standing helplessly at the end of the dock as the boat is stolen with Cass's family on board. Had it been there moments later, Cass would have been able to stop the boat with his powers. The engineers arrive in two motorboats to pick up Cass and Rock. They follow the tracking devices in mechanics' phones and soon arrive at the anchored boat. Rock and Cass board the boat, which is eerily quiet. As Cass searches the deck for his family, Rock is first to check down in the cabin. He emerges with a look of terror, and when he tries to prevent Cass from seeing what he saw, Cass uses his powers on Rock and freezes his body in a state of suspended animation. Cass discovers his greatest treasure. His precious Lydia's brutal, murdered body is on the bed. There is blood everywhere, and a note is nailed to her forehead from the murderer, Alejandro Flores. The ransom note demands $5 million. Cass wraps Lydia's body and then instructs Marcus to take her to Aquarius. Cass leads Rock to the location of his remaining family with his mind. Rock is concerned for Lance and Melina's safety without the money, but Cass states that the money is not needed due to his power, which is now fully restored. The rescue is swift. Cass controls the minds of the Mexicans and causes them to walk involuntarily to meet him. Then Cass draws his concealed .45 ACP and shoots out all 4 kneecaps of the 2 Mexicans. Then, using his power, he explodes them into oblivion. The problem with this act of revenge and power is that Lance and Melina have seen him do it. Cass and Rock take them home, and then Cass enters their minds to put them into a trance until he can figure out what to do next. Cass visits his pod where Lydia's dead body now lays on the cot. Aquarius reminds Cass that there is no way to bring Lydia back because it is against the law of the cosmos to use time travel to undo death. Cass senses that there is a way to break the law of the cosmos, and he demands Aquarius to tell him how. Aquarius confirms that the only way is to conceal the knowledge of Lydia's death. The only way to do this is to return to birth and live his life all over again. In an instant, Cass makes the decision to do so, and Aquarius enacts the time travel immediately. Tonight's chapter will continue on with chapter 35, Fix. And that was a wild chapter last week. This is the graphic on your screen on Substack for the chapter that it's basically just from the manuscript. So it's basically an image used in the original manuscript of Cassius Canix, and I've been sharing those images with you each week as well in the recap. So that's a lot of fun. All right, so thank you for joining me for episode 34 of The Dream is True. I am MK Schultz, horror sci-fi author, coming at you on episode 35. Cannot believe we've made it this far together. Thank you so much over on TikTok for all the gifts and for joining me and liking and forward and following. And thank you so much over on Substack for all of the follows, all of the awesome subscriptions. That is amazing. Without further ado, we come to the next segment in the program, which is basically I'm going to go through my books for you guys. So, as per our readings, my first book is from Cassius Canics, my first novel. And I have it right here as well. Cassius Canics is a slow burn. Let me put it over here, yeah. Cassius Canics is a slow burn that turns into a raging fire and then teases for more. Buckle up. An ordinary man's life collapses after he is pursued by a powerful secret organization. The big question is, why him? He gradually comes to understand that he holds a mysterious dormant power within. When an unimaginable tragedy strikes his family, he defies the fundamental laws of the universe and travels through time to restore things back to normal. With cutting-edge technology, supernatural animals, and even time travel, experience a seemingly simple man's journey to destiny and greatness. And that is Cassius Canics. And next up, we have The Fishing Trip. This is a horror sci-fi novel. This book is a prequel to the first, and it ends where book one starts. Super cool character backstories will have you longing for more. Buckle up extra tight for this one. A routine fishing getaway for 5 close friends turns into a nightmare when an apocalyptic cult drags them into unspeakable evil and despair. Their only hope? A powerful time traveler racing against fate to pull them back from the brink. And that is The Fishing Trip. Next up, Book 3 of the Cassius Canics trilogy. It is called Equilibrium. It is a horror sci-fi. This book is a continuation of Book 1 and ties in Book 2's revelations for the finale. Nothing can prepare you for Equilibrium. Brace yourself. Cassius Canics and the organization face their greatest threat yet. Evil incarnate. An alien being named Dade is determined to rob Cass of everything he's become. In a race against the destruction of the planet, he strives to restore balance. The fate of the world hangs on Cassius Canics finding his true power, a mysterious power called Equilibrium. And the Cassius Canics trilogy is available in audiobook format as well, and also in ebook and paperback. Next up, we have The Muse. The Muse is an occult horror. This book is inspired by 80s slasher movies, Stephen King horror, and American Psycho. A depressed writer turns to a life of solitude as a trucker. He calls out for help on a Ouija board in a bid for inspiration. His call for help is answered by an ancient evil that promises genius but demands murder in return. As the body count climbs, only his twin sister can stop him before the Muse claims them both. But is it already too late? And that is The Muse. All right, guys. The Muse is also available in audiobook and in ebook and in paperback on Amazon. All the links are in my bio. Check it out, and do not read The Muse alone. Next up, we have Hard Copy. This is a sci-fi alien invasion suspense thriller. This book is inspired by Gen X TV, 80s sci-fi, conspiracy theories, and modern AI. At a wild bush party in his teens, Ray Higgins was taken by aliens. Now in his 50s, separated and disappointed, he's assigned to mentor Tara, an AI robot. When the aliens return, Ray and Tara explore conspiracies, hidden horrors, and a lizard cult of deception in a gripping story of rediscovery and rebellion. Are you ready to question reality? and that is hard copy. Thank you to everyone who's joining over on TikTok. If you want the full experience, head over to my Substack account for the images, background music, better sound quality, and widescreen format. I am MK Schultz, horror sci-fi author, coming at you on episode 35 of The Dream is True. I am so excited to have reached this milestone in the program. Next up, we have my work in progress update. So last week I continued book cover research for my vampire horror novel, which is currently with my editor. I'm thrilled to have my daughter on board in the publication process for both of my upcoming books now, and she may even be getting involved with some of the artwork as well. The title is more or less set to be Wooden Souls. The cover still needs to be nailed down, but my vision of what I want it to be is getting clear now. Stay tuned for further updates on that. And my upcoming short story collection is also complete. I am soon starting my author edits on this collection to get it rolling out not too much longer after my vampire novel. Although I do have a potential opportunity to pitch to a publisher, which I will also explore. The artwork for this one will be super fun because I plan to have an image for each of the 14 short stories. So yeah, that's fun. Next up, what do we have next, guys? We have my book events. Okay, so my in-person book events. Next book event for me is going to be in Cornwall next month, September 27th. This is a fun event, and I'm looking forward to it. So do check out that. More on that whenever the date approaches closer. So stay tuned. For the book box program that I'm involved with is called Club Thrill Roar, which has an amazing large lineup of indie horror authors, myself included. And you can basically browse and get a curated or custom or whatever you pick, I guess, a selection of books, and they're delivered right to your door, and they're all autographed by the author, and it comes with cool decorations and just fun little knickknacks and lots of swag and stuff, and it's just a fun collecting item for book lovers. So check that out. If you go to my newsletter, you will see links to Club Thrill Roar's Instagram page and their Facebook page, and that's where the order forms are that you can start browsing on. So yeah, check that out. All my links are in my bio, so you just click my bio on any of my platforms. You will see all that I have to offer. That's the little banner that Club Thrill Roar did for me on their social media. All right. We are moving right along here pretty quickly, guys. Let me see here. Yeah, so I am MK Schultz, horror sci-fi author, coming at you on episode 35 of The Dream is True. Thank you to everybody who joins me each week. I really appreciate it. I get a lot of visitors. I've met a lot of cool people, and this has been the ride of my life so far, and it's not stopping anytime soon, so thank you so much for joining me each week here on The Dream is True. So next up, okay, are you ready for this, guys? Okay, so next up, I am super excited about the Bookish Spotlight. Each week, The Dream is True features a talented creative whose work leaves a lasting mark in the bookish world. With us this time is 11-time award-winning author of 8 books, winner of the Best Indie Book Award for Horror, winner of the Book Excellence Award for Horror, winner of the Literary Titan Gold Award, a lifelong writer. He has been writing full-time for 12 years now. Today's bookish spotlight on The Dream is True is Ken Stark, horror writer, screenwriter, painter, and actor. How cool is that? Thank you so much, Ken, for joining me today. Ken Stark does not only write horror, but he mostly does. Why? Because when it comes to shining a light on the best and worst of human nature, nothing works better than a dark backdrop. And if it happens to give a few people nightmares along the way, he'll take that as a bonus. Ken lives in Vancouver, Canada, and when he isn't writing, he can be most often found reading, painting, or communing with nature. And yes, he once gave his lunch to a rat, but in his defense, the rat did look hungry. All right, we have Ken Stark on the Bookish Spotlight. So let's explore some of Ken's books. First up, we have Ken's Stage 3 series of currently five books in the series. So yeah, I'll read a little excerpt from book 1 just to give you a small taste of this. Blindness is just the beginning. Once the virus strips away everything remotely human, all that's left is a mindless, savage predator. From multi-award-winning horror writer Ken Stark comes a pulse-pounding, post-apocalyptic zombie novel that will keep you pumped up until the very last page. For fans of World War Z, The Last of Us, and The Walking Dead, the suspense here is devastatingly effective and only scratches the surface of the blood-soaked brutality that plays out in the chaos of this world. Mason never cared much for his fellow man, but now he is all that stands between a blind girl and a world gone mad. Even as they fight their way from one horror to the next through streets running red with blood, they know the time is running out. Stage 3 is coming, and things are about to get a whole lot worse. Critics have called Stage 3 a thrilling ride through a nightmare landscape, a gripping page-turner from beginning to end, and a roller coaster of unstoppable horror. Follow the journey of a group of survivors as they struggle to stay alive in a world overrun by the undead and infected. Are you ready for the end of the world? And that is Stage 3, the Stage 3 series. If you are on my newsletter, all of this stuff is clickable and you can get right to Ken's books and buy them. Also a link to his website there, which is going to get you all that you want from Ken Stark. Let's look at another one of Ken's books. This one is Gaya's Game. It's been a day like no other for Sheriff Tom Cooper. A body has been found in an abandoned mansion, and it looks like that's just the beginning. Reports have been coming in from all across Keeter's Bluff. Violent attacks, townspeople disappearing, others found torn to pieces. Bodies now litter the streets from one end of town to the other. And it's not just happening on Keeter's Bluff. With the setting of the sun, Sheriff Cooper is faced with the shocking truth. This is not the work of a madman. This enemy is closer to home, and it might be impossible to defeat. He and a handful of friends only have hours left to end the carnage. If they can't find a way to stop this unthinkable new horror, this might be the last night for Keeter's Bluff, and quite possibly the world. Yeah, so that is Gaya's Game. Next up, let's have a look at another book. Thanks everyone on TikTok and Substack for joining me. This is The Dream is True, episode 35. I am MK Schultz, horror sci-fi author, coming at you. And we are currently in the bookish spotlight with Ken Stark. And we're going to look at another one of Ken's books called Arcadia Falls. The first boy vanished without a trace, and with just as little fanfare. Even the second disappearance amounted to little more than a few passing remarks, and another name skipped over in the classroom roll call. As far as Riverside High and the rest of Arcadia Falls were concerned, it seemed as if nothing had happened at all. Tyler John was no different. He had barely given the matter a second thought, but when a wrong turn sent him on a path straight into the dark heart of the mystery. And the deeper he peered into the shadows, the more he realized that something was looking back. Now the hunter has become the hunted, and time is running out. With nowhere else to turn, it's up to Tyler and his handful of friends to stop the evil thing that has been preying on Arcadia Falls. If they fail, they might just be the next ones to vanish. And next up, let's look at another one of Ken's books. We're going to look at Miracle Man. Milton Fisk was a good man once. Then came the day when he discovered his gift. He can heal with a touch. He can resurrect the dead. Now known as Elijah Zion, Miracle Man, he is worshipped by billions. Kings and presidents bow before him. He is the most powerful man on earth. But it is not enough. There was only one other man in history with Elijah's powers, and Elijah Zion hates him with a passion. He will tear down the old gods if it takes him an eternity, and from that day onward, the world will know only the name Elijah Zion. Milton's best friend from boyhood and the woman he once loved are the only ones who know the truth. They have vowed to stop him, but do mere mortals stand a chance against the Miracle Man? Healer, killer, blasphemer, antichrist, evil incarnate, Elijah Zion, Miracle Man. Prepare for horror that will reach deep into the darkest corners of your psyche. Whether you're a believer or not, Miracle Man will make your flesh crawl as Ken Stark reveals the face of true evil in this disquieting story. That is Miracle Man. Super cool. So we'll leave that up for the remaining of the bookish spotlight. So let's talk a little bit about, Ken's works in progress. So the next stage 3 book. So let's put that back up again. So the 5 stage 3 books, Ken has now completed a 6th stage 3 book called Stage 3 Echo, and it is coming soon, along with a standalone horror novel that is as yet untitled. Ken is extremely pleased with how they both turned out, so you'll have to definitely check those out. If you go to my Substack newsletter, you'll see there's buttons there to follow Ken for all the latest details. You can follow Ken on X, on Facebook, and on Instagram, and I got some quick handy buttons there just to make that easy for you, right on my newsletter on Substack. So check that out. The link is in my bio. So yeah, just in closing, it is my honor to feature renowned horror author Ken Stark this week on the second last episode of The Dream is True. Ken has always encouraged and supported my posts on social media, and I think it is so cool to have him as part of my writing journey. Thank you so much, Ken. Round of applause for Ken Stark. Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, next up, what are we at? So, how's everyone doing on TikTok? Lots of people joining. That's awesome to see. Okay, cool. And right on. Thank you so much. And then on Substack, let me know if you're say something in the comments if you're in Substack. I'd love to hear from you and know that you're enjoying the show. Next up, okay, first I'm going to have a little drink of water here, and then we're going to get into the movie section. Yes, okay. So this section is called Movies, TV, Music, and Books, which are a massive influence on my writing, and always have been. Each week I share with you what I have watched, listened to, or read. And here is last week's consumption. So first up, we have a movie I watched last week called The Last House, starring Greta Lee, Wagner Moura, and Riley Chung. It gets 5.5 out of 10 on IMDb. The synopsis from IMDb reads, a family of 4 is suddenly sealed inside their house with no way out and must work together to survive against both their dwindling resources and the mysterious looming threat that is keeping them trapped. My take, this movie had a bit of a B-movie feel at times, which was fun for me because I love B-movies. As a writer, I enjoyed the plot and found it to be somewhat original. The family dynamics were unrealistic for me as I thought about how early on in the movie murders would have taken place had it been my family. Just kidding. No, I'm not. Yeah, and that is The Last House. And then next I watched, movie 2 that I watched is called Season of the Witch, starring Nicolas Cage, Ron Perlman, and Claire Foy. So this movie gets 5.4 out of 10 on IMDb. It's 14th century knights transport a suspected witch to a monastery where monks deduce that her powers could be the source of the Black Plague. So yeah. So my take, I had this movie on my list to watch since its release 15 years ago, but for some reason I only got to it now. It was better than I thought it was going to be. It reminded me in some ways a little bit of Army of Darkness, which is one of my absolute favorite movies, minus the comedy, but still with a bit of cheesiness, which I enjoyed. The plot surprised me, and I loved the twist at the end. This was fun and well worth the watch. I love me a good Nicolas Cage movie, so yeah. I love the cheesiness. I don't get tired of it, and Nick Cage all the way. So right on. And next up, I watched a TV series. So I watched the Netflix documentary series Conversations with a Killer, the Charles Manson tapes, which came out on August 12th on Netflix. Follows cult leader Charles Manson's rise, the 1969 murders committed by the Manson family, and the 1971 trial through unreleased prison recordings, first-hand accounts, and interviews. So my take, I didn't think there would be any surprises in this series, and unfortunately I was correct for me. I learned nothing I didn't already know about this cult, and I felt let down a little bit. I still enjoyed it, but it just felt like a repeat of something I had already seen. Thank you for joining, everyone. There's a lot of people coming in. Thank you so much. I'm clicking the little say hi buttons. Thank you. I really appreciate it over on TikTok. TikTok's been great for discovery for me, and then I'm trying to get people to go over to my Substack for the full experience and to subscribe and support me there. So basically, I had no surprises really. This would have been better enjoyed, I think, by people who knew less about the story. I still enjoyed it, and it's worth the watch, but it lacked new material in my opinion. And basically that, to me, that kind of made it seem like just like a plain old money grab by Netflix. Just, put out anything by Charles Manson and make some money. So I guess that's kind of what it felt like to me. All right, guys, next up we are coming into music. Okay, I have always been inspired and motivated by heavy metal and rock music. My favorite band is Iron Maiden. When I first started my writing journey, Iron Maiden was always playing in the background, and it still is. I have always found the lyrics and sounds of Maiden to be thought-provoking and inspirational to my dream. And one of my favorite Iron Maiden lyrics is from Journeyman on the Dance of Death album. And it reads, "I know what I want, I'll say what I want, and no one can take it away." And what does this have to do with Equilibrium? Well, I think this line inspired me when I was writing my third novel, Equilibrium. This novel marked a special point in my writing journey, and that is why you will notice the dedication for this novel simply states, "For me." So that's a little tidbit I wanted to share with you on the movie section. I'm in between reads right now. I'm trying to find a new book to read, and I've been super busy, but I still want to try to make time next week to get back into reading. And something happened to our music. Yeah. Okay, let's get it back going on. All right, what are we into now? How's everyone doing over on TikTok? Thanks for joining me. Thank you for all the gifts. I've been getting gifts on TikTok, and you know how cool that is as an indie author to have something real, like a gift, to just make it seem more tangible what you're doing out there. Like as an indie author, it just shows that someone appreciates you enough to give you an actual monetary gift. Like how cool is that? So yeah, thanks a lot. And the same thing happened over on Substack with a paid subscriber. I mean, that's the dream. That's the dream, to do this full time and keep going as an indie author of horror and sci-fi. So I am MK Schultz, horror sci-fi author, and this is The Dream is True. This is episode 35, a weekly show, Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you for joining me, everyone. And next segment of the show is I usually talk about my book sales, writing, a writer's tip, and a writer's quirk. Yeah, the book sales, I've got a bunch of baby step mini goal achievements, and they're posted on my newsletter. I'm not going to go over them again on this show, but just lots of cool little things. I think it's important as an indie author to just write down stuff that are accomplishments so that you can look back and realize, you know what, you're making progress in your passion and your dream, and that's important to know for yourself. One of the things that I always share would be this image of the world I have, where there's 8 red dots on it, representing 8 different countries where I have sold books, and that is a cool visual for me to look at to give myself encouragement. The countries are Canada, USA, UK, India, France, Germany, Italy, and Australia. So yeah, it's just so fun to receive comments and reviews from people from other countries on my work. Really appreciate it. Yeah, this song is mellow. All right. Are you ready? Okay, yeah. So the writer's tip is the next segment of the show. Each week, I try to deliver a little snippet of a writer's tip, something that has helped me on my journey so far, something I've discovered, something I've learned along the way. And I share everything with you here every week on The Dream is True. So something that helps me get through a phase of writer's block is to reduce the word count expectation for each writing session to as little as 100 words. By doing this, I find that my thoughts between writing sessions eventually come up with a new direction from my muse. Once that happens, my sessions can return to 500 to 1,000 words and even beyond. So the trick here for me is to not stop the writing session to wait for the new idea. Instead, by continuing to go through the motions and by sitting down to do the work, the flow never stops. It's just like when my water softener and iron filtration system runs the regeneration cycle. The flow reduces for some time and then eventually returns to full strength. And that is the writer's tip. Just a little bit of a snippet on writer's block. Okay, next up we have the writer's quirk. This is a fun weekly feature here on The Dream is True. It is exactly what it is titled, and it can be anything. That's why I love this little segment each week. This week is no different. It's kind of fun, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with you. So for this week, okay, I had a vivid dream again. I don't have vivid dreams often, but now when I do, I make sure to record them immediately on my phone before going back to sleep. When this happens, I am usually super tired the next day because of the interruption in sleep due to looking at my phone in the middle of the night. But I feel compelled to do it in spite of this. So in this vivid dream, I dreamed that I was telling a story to some friends during a social engagement at my house. So the strange part was that the story was in the form of a physics problem. So here's my best attempt at retelling it now. So yeah, so pay attention to the physics problem, because at the end there's a chance for you to, I want to, in the comments, you can post your solution or response to the physics problem. So here it is. I am standing at the back of a school bus. I am young, and yet I am also my current age. Someone is sitting in the back seat with some kind of electronic measuring device. They suddenly yell, "Go!" and I run all the way to the front of the bus as fast as I can without tripping because of the restricted space between the seats along the aisle. After reaching the front of the bus, I return to the back again and sit down beside the person with the device as they immediately begin to read the results to me. They tell me that my average speed relative to the bus was 10 kilometers per hour. Then they tell me that my average speed relative to the Earth was 0 kilometers per hour. Then the person just looks at me and smiles. Then they ask me this question. Tell me, how is it possible that you were both moving at a speed of 10 kilometers per hour while simultaneously not moving at all? So, yeah, every time I have a vivid dream, I think I have a basic understanding of how to interpret it. For this dream, I think my brain took a trip back to when I was in grade 13 physics class with my PhD teacher, Dr. Langstaff, who was a who was a teacher who really inspired me to be curious, to question everything, and to dream big. A truly inspirational teacher story from my life, and I thank you, Dr. Langstaff, wherever you are, or wherever you may be, because you really affected my life in a positive way, and I really want to thank you. So yes, as far as everyone else, can you tell me what the answer to this physics problem from my dream is? And there is a definitive answer. If you need to hear it again, you'll have to check out the live recordings after. I'll try to post it as a separate video maybe, but please submit your answer in the comments, and I'd love to see some answers to what that physics problem is. And next up, okay, where are we? We're on 7. We're doing good for time. I usually try to get to the live reading by about 8 p.m. All right. I am MK Schultz, horror sci-fi author, coming at you on episode 35 of The Dream is True, here on TikTok and Substack every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for the gifts. The gifts on TikTok are keeping me staying on the simultaneous TikTok stream while I focus on my Substack production. Okay, so we are now into the food and health of a writer. As a writer, it is important to keep my brain and body healthy so that I can continue to churn out horrific scenes of violence and thought-provoking and chilling sci-fi. Side projects around the house and connecting with nature provide good mental health outlets for meditating, brainstorming, and thinking about stories. Last week, I studied a tiny frog. There's a little guy, a tiny little frog, that one of those real tiny frogs, right on my hand there. And I worked on my boat Nemo, and I restored an antique table. So that was fun. Yeah, and then as far as health goes, my goal in 2026 is to care for my mental and physical health. Fitness update. So far this year, I have lost 45 pounds thanks to calorie deficit counting with my Fitbit and cardio strength and flexibility training. It is hard to believe that I was carrying the equivalent of these weights around with me. Yeah. Good to have visuals for your dreams. I'm a big believer in that. So, and my dreams involve food too. So here's one of my low-calorie meals from last week. This is just, I repeated this meal for simplicity a few times last week. This is just a homemade spaghetti sauce over a cauliflower rice. Super low in calories, but still tasty and quite satisfying. Next up, we have my most exciting part of the week is my cheat days. And my cheat meals. Okay, so it started out with a stop at Harvey's for fast food. Yeah. I mean, I don't do this very often anymore, so it is definitely just a treat on a cheat day. Then I picked a single jalapeno. I picked two actually, but this is a picture of one single jalapeno pepper from my garden to use in some of my other cheat meals. And this is the jalapeno diced up in coin fashion. And I put some of those, like about 6 or 7 of them, on a spicy breaded cheeseburger. Yeah. Then I had a big breakfast, and yeah, so my wife is currently making a strawberry jalapeno jam from with our jalapenos from our garden and from freshly picked strawberries. So yeah, I can't wait to have that on my toast for a cheat meal. And then we had an amazing jambalaya that I actually added my jalapenos to kick it up because they are hot. The jalapenos from my garden are hotter than the ones you buy from a grocery store because they're just fresher. And I don't know if all the spiciness is just fresh and stays with you. So yeah, we're a little early, but how are we doing? Oh yeah. Thank you, Tim, for joining. I am MK Schultz, horror sci-fi author, joining you each week here on The Dream is True. This is episode 35. And we're coming up now to the live reading. So each week I do a live reading from my first novel, Cassius Cannix. Today we are actually on chapter 35, which is the second last chapter of the book. So I am going to get ready and we're going to do this reading. It's only 10 or 15 minutes because it's a fairly short chapter. They all are on Cassius Cannix, so that's what makes it great for weekly readings on this show. All right, I'm gonna cut for the live reading. I'm cutting the music, and I'm putting up my images, and I'm gonna get the lights dimmed. All right. Okay, so in order to see the book, I have a book light, and that'll actually add a bit more light on the screen, especially on Substack. I think TikTok's not too bad. But here we are. Okay. I got to get the light on. Yeah. And now I got to get comfortable here. Okay. Oh, no, that doesn't work for TikTok because it gets too bright, eh? Let's do that. Yeah, that's not too bad. All right, guys, here we are. Chapter 35. Fix. March 22nd, 1972. City Hospital. Congratulations, Mr. and Mrs. Cannix. It's a boy. Do you have a name? Then he remembered the name he was told in a dream and said, "Yes, we do, Doctor. It's Cassius Orion Cannix." Wonderful. I'll leave you two alone now for some much needed rest. I'll take the baby for an examination, just to make sure everything is tickety-boo, okay? Yes, doctor, by all means. As the doctor began to examine the baby, he noticed something unusual. Oh, nurse, can you please come here? Yes, doctor? Can you have a look at this little fellow with me? Sure, doctor. Is there a problem? Is he okay? Yeah, I think so, but it's just that, well, I've never seen anything quite like this. Like what, doctor? Just watch his eyes. Oh my God, doctor, they changed color. Yeah, and that's not all. Look at this. It looks like a scar here on his left arm. Oh, I got to get the book positioned better for you guys with the light. This is tricky. Let me go over here. Okay. So look at this. It looks like a scar here on his left arm. But that's impossible. How could a newborn have a scar? I don't know, nurse. Please keep an eye on him and don't mention this to anyone. We don't need any more controversy here after what happened with that Modes baby last week. Sure thing, doctor. Nurse's station. Can I help you? Said the plump on-duty nurse as she looked at the man in front of her with a smile. Yes, I would like to visit the Cannixes to see their new baby boy, said the man. Sure, they are right over there in room 1279, said the nurse as she smiled again. And the baby boy? He asked. Oh, he's in the nursery now. You can see him through the window if you like. The cribs are labeled. Okay, thank you. And then he left abruptly. Who was that guy? Asked the second nurse who just arrived to the station. Not sure, but he wanted to see the Cannix baby boy, she answered. How did he know it was a boy when the Cannixes themselves did not even know until minutes ago? Maybe it was a lucky guess. Or maybe he has mind powers, she joked with a grin. Yeah, he sure could pass for that with that bald head and everything. Kind of creepy the way he acted. The man found his way to the nursery and he peered in through the glass at the crib labeled Cannix. Cassius Cannix. Cassius Cannix. Cassius Cannix, whispered Orion into the mind of baby Cassius. Come with me to the table in 1970 where we first merged. For because I once existed, you were able to summon me once again from the alternate timeline deep within the Germany pod to come for you. The whispers of Orion were indeed heard by Cassius. The 1970 table, meeting number 2. Cass was once again at his previous age in sync with Orion. Hello, Cassius, Cannix. Hello, Orion. The two bald men sat across from each other. The table was stainless steel. The room was small. Cassius knew he had been here before, but this time it was different. Cassius, are you ready to save Lydia as you have planned? Yes, Orion, I am indeed ready. Then the two vanished. Cass returned back to repeat the incident in time when he shot Mr. Chung, the corrupt player of the game, who he would unknowingly kill as Chung hung from a white bag in Rock's shooting range. Alejandro Flores would later seek revenge upon Cass for his involvement in the killing of the second game player named Hiroki Asara for trying to leak the secret location for the game. But it was the killing of Mr. Chung that would provide an alternate purpose in this new reality. Come on, Cassius, this will take your mind off of things and help you to relieve a bit of stress. Let's see how good you are at this. He grasped the gun in his hand. It was cold and heavy. As the two walked through the door number 2, it opened up to a long and narrow shooting range. Already in the range were the engineers. Okay, Cass, see that heavy, large white bag hanging way down there from the ceiling? Yeah. Let's see if you can hit it. Cass held the gun up to get a feel for the weight. and began his aim. With a squeeze of the trigger and a loud bang, Cass hit the bag dead center. Bullseye, and on your first try, wow. Then Cass saw something. The bag, it was turning red. What's going on, Rock? What is that? Then Cass jumped from that time and returned back to the 1970 table meeting. Cassius, you did it. You found a way to save precious Lydia. For the man in the bag, the man that you shot, is me this time instead of Mr. Chung. And by doing so, he lives. And so does the second game player, Hiroki Asahara. You see, Cass, because of this change in the timeline of occurrences, Hiroki Asahara never takes part in the game, and that means that Alejandro Flores' business will not be disrupted, and therefore he will not seek revenge on you, and Lydia will not be killed. But Orion, this can't work, because I will still have knowledge of her death, which breaks the law of the cosmos, and therefore it is destined to still occur in one way or another. Cassius Canix, you have found a way to solve that problem too. Once again, the two vanish from the table in 1970, and Cass returns back to his original time, back on the cot where he first jumped from. Aquarius, one more jump. Did you call the one I asked for? Yes, Cassius Canix, he is here. Then one last jump should fix this all for good then. Whenever you are ready, Cassius Canix, said Aquarius. Jump! Cass then returned back to the moment in time at the Canix family home in order to relive a memory with Lydia so he could see her essence from the past. Hey, Lydia, did you hear about that guy in the city who was killed the other day? No, what happened? Filled with joy at the sight of his precious Lydia once again, he answered as he did the first time in this moment, in the time when it took place. Some guy was trying to rescue a cat from a tree just as a storm was rolling in. And he got struck by lightning that killed him. You see, when the lightning hit, he fell out of the tree he had climbed and landed on the road, but the fall didn't kill him either. Instead, it was a speeding fire truck that happened to be passing that very spot just as the man landed from the tree. And I haven't even gotten to the strangest part of the story yet. Get this, the house that was on fire belonged to this same man that ended up being killed. Isn't that crazy? Sure is, Daddy. Once again, Cass jumped in time to return back to present day on the cot where Aquarius held his bald head with dozens of suction cups. Lydia was restored, and so was the memories of Lance and Melina. Cass, however, would not have this knowledge as was part of the plan. Then Aquarius said, "Hello, Cassius Canix. Welcome back. You have a busy day. You should get some rest before the kids and Melina get home from school." Yes, Aquarius, that is a good idea. Then, very surprised, he asked, "Hey, what are you doing here, Audric?" Walking towards Cass, the black figure approached with purpose. The two locked eyes for what seemed to be an eternity. No words were said, for the two understood each other perfectly. Then the black figure tilted his head to one side, and with a wink of his eye, he flew off back to his door. Goodbye, Audric. Cass returned to the house in order to greet the family. Hi, Daddy, what are you doing here? Oh, Lydia, I am so glad you are home. How was your day? Oh, fine, I guess. As Cass looked at Lydia, an overwhelming sense of love flooded his heart. 2 large tears welled up in his eyes as he fought the blink that would set them free. "What's wrong, Daddy?" There we go. All right. "Oh, Lydia, I just got a revelation while looking at you. You are so precious to me, and I never want any harm to ever come to you. And if any harm ever did come to you, I would travel to the ends of the earth, never stopping until I would find a way to save you. I would sacrifice my own life for you, Lydia, in a wink." All right, so that's the chapter reading for today. That is the second last chapter of Cassius Canix. Let's get the lights and the music going, and we'll have a final chat. So there's a lot going on. More is explained in the final chapter, and then it'll all make sense. People have had to read it multiple times to kind of get the gist of it all thoroughly and understood. But it's basically about the love of a father for his daughter, and his daughter is brutally murdered, and then he is not a normal person. He actually has powers and the ability to time travel. So if you put that kind of power with someone who is a father of a daughter, the question is, what would that person do? What lengths would this person of great power go to save his daughter? Would he just accept her death? In this case, no, he does not. And that's kind of that's what kind of starts a new problem, because he's breaking the law of the cosmos, which it keeps on reminding us of. And there's going to be consequences for that we're going to find out about in books 2 and 3 of the series. So that's some little behind the scenes for sure on that. So how is everyone doing? Okay, anyone over on Substack that wants to comment, to say hi, please let me know before we go. We are headed to the final minutes of the show. I'm going to be around until 8:15. Hi, Eves. Thanks for joining over on TikTok. That's awesome. And thank you. Thank you, Squirrely Girl. Thank you for joining over on TikTok. I am MK Schultz, horror sci-fi author, and this is The Dream is True, episode 35. Right here each week on TikTok and Substack. And after the show, the video is posted on my YouTube channel and also on Substack. And there is a podcast that's also uploaded and published where you listen to your podcasts. So before we got about 5 minutes, I have it opened up now to any questions, comments. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. Thank you so much. People are joining. Maybe this is a better time to to do stuff on TikTok. I'm just kind of at the end of the show now, guys. Next week is our season finale. I have a very special guest coming on the show next week. Someone who goes back right to near the beginning of my journey, and had played a very pinnacle part in the Cassius Canix trilogy. So I'm super excited. It's very fitting that this person be the, I would say that this person is the in the season finale, because the show has been a live reading of Cassius Canix every week. So this is a great way to end it So yeah, please do join me next Thursday. It's going to be really exciting for me to have that bookish spotlight be on my final episode of this season. And then we're going to get into season 2 of the show, guys. I'm thinking about reading The Fishing Trip next. So we'll have to see how that works out. And I was also going to be doing some behind the scenes stuff for my Substack subscribers as well. Hi, Melmer. Thanks for joining on TikTok. I really appreciate it. This is MK Schultz, horror sci-fi author, coming at you on season 1, episode 35 of my show, The Dream is True. Each week here on Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Super exciting. Yeah, we're just winding down. We've got 3 minutes to go, and I'm just wondering if anybody has any questions or comments before I go. I'm hanging around till 8:15. So do let me know in the comments if you have anything that you would like to ask or to comment about. I love to hear from everyone. I have so much fun doing this show each week. This is can you believe this is 35 weeks straight now? I have not missed a Thursday. I'm going to keep the streak going. I don't know if I'll have a bit of a break between season 1 and season 2, maybe just to plan the actual show structure. I might have to do that, right? How can I just keep going on without having a bit of a structure change? So yeah, I do have a lot of ideas. So we're going to develop this show over time. It's already developed amazingly. Like since this show started, so many things this has come into play, and so many little tweaks and improvements have been made. And it's been a lot of fun sharing it with all of you guys. Some of you guys, your input into my show has made it better, and I also really appreciate that. So we only have 2 minutes left before we are coming to the end of the show. So please do comment. I'll stick around even if you do want to have a mini discussion with me. You got 1 minute left to ask me any questions or to comment, and do ask away. I love hearing from all of my listeners out there and viewers. It's such a cool thing to have this platform called The Dream is True, and to share my books with you is why I do this, because I need to get more. I need to find my readers. So this is a way for me doing sort of a virtual fruit pyramid to call out to you guys, to give my books a chance and to check them out. They're all available on audiobook, ebook, paperback, and my link is in my bio. So last call for any questions or comments before we go. Is there anything else? We are at 8:15 now, so I will close. If I see a comment, I'll stay before I go, but as of now, I'm in the closing mode. So, as an indie author, it is my dream to write full-time. Currently, I am living this dream. In order to sustain this dream, I depend on your support. Here are some great ways to support my writing journey so that I can continue to publish more books. Buy my ebooks, softcover books, and audiobooks online or at live in-person events. And my link is in the bio for that. Post book reviews on Goodreads and Amazon. Support me on Ko-fi by buying me a coffee or tipping me, and that link is also in my bio. Support me on Substack through a paid subscription. And that's amazing. That has happened already. And for that, I am so grateful. And continue to support me on my TikTok lives with GIFs. Yeah, TikTok has stuck around because for discoverability, guys, it's mostly people coming in and out, but some of those people have decided to follow me and have actually come along over on Substack for the long ride. So I really appreciate that. And so, yeah, I'm definitely going to keep my TikTok lives going. But you'll definitely get more on the Substack experience, though, and on my social media platforms, TikTok being one of them for sure. Support me on social media by liking, commenting, and sharing. I am most active on Instagram, TikTok, Substack, and X. So check those out. Subscribe to the podcast version of The Dream is True, where you listen to podcasts. I've got 4 podcast subscribers so far on YouTube and on my YouTube channel, and 4 subscribers on my Spotify channel. So I did not seek anyone. They just happened organically. So that's kind of cool. Thanks again to the Bookish Spotlight today, who is Ken Stark. And next week is the season finale of The Dream is True. So join me next week at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for the final show. And in closing, I now recite the phrase that I first heard on the song Dream of Mirrors by Iron Maiden. It is a phrase that inspires me, and I want to share it with all of you. If you have a dream, don't say, I hope my dream comes true one day. Instead, say this out loud every single day. The dream is true. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week. Thanks a lot.